Hi, and a great big warm welcome to episode 24 in the second season of the Ask Zofie podcast. As ever, I'm sitting here to record with I'm just double checking. Well, I want to get out of this habit of checking I'm recording, even when I know I'm recording. But anyway, I'm sat here with a silly sort of smile on my face because I'm just laughing to myself about myself, basically. How at the moment things are like, woo, with stuff I'm doing on the apartment. Obviously, if you're just listening, you can't see my silly hand gestures there that um, I'm trying to demonstrate the kind of whirlwind of things going on. But there's no chat of colonic irrigation. Yeah, well, what? Every time I say that, it sounds weird. There's no colonic chat today, although I was talking about it earlier on with the hairdresser, the girl that was doing my hair. Anyway, I okay, I'm going to talk today about kind of like when to take action and when not to take action, and the difference between like the energy side of manifesting and then the bit that you do yourself. Because someone asked me a while back, can you, what did she say? She asked me something about how, that was it, how to manifest. And I'm like, we are all manifesting all the time. What I teach is how to manifest on purpose, how to consciously manifest. So, like, for example, I consciously manifested Daniel into my life. He manifested me, but unconsciously. He wasn't aware. So we were both manifesting, but I did it on purpose. I was aware. I kind of could sense that that situation was coming into my life, as I talk about in the episode, the butter chicken episode. But he was manifesting me without realizing it through his unwanted experiences in his life and in his previous relationships. He had created the relationship that we have, but it was unbeknownst to him, unbeknown to him. All right, before I get into it, I'm going to share from Love Notes. I've actually got my paperback version. I've got the original. By the way, if you're watching, I pretty much always have my nails like stumpy and squoval. If you're a guy listening, one of the few guys that listen, you might be thinking, what is she on about? But what's been on trend for a while, and I'm like way behind, is almond shaped, more pointy nails. And I went for it on Thursday when I got my nails done. Oh, why did I just suddenly got a weird hand thing come up my screen? I don't know what that means. Hi, whoever's talking to me from inside my computer. But I changed the shape of my nails. So if you can see, what do you think? I mean, this is really not very exciting because they're just French manicure and still quite short, but just a little bit more rounded. Are they a vibe for you or not? Okay, the other thing actually that I'm going to say as I'm showing my fingers to those of you who are watching is on Friday I went to London, and basically when I got divorced, I bought myself a Cartier love bracelet. And in relative terms, this is an expensive item. One of the things I say to myself that's helping me manifest money is I don't call things expensive anymore, because it's all relative, right? And when we call things expensive, we help to block ourselves from abundance, and I don't want to do that. So I always say, like, is it expensive to Jeffrey Bezos? No, it isn't. But anyway, relatively speaking, it's expensive. And I just wanted this thing for years and years and years. And my ex-husband would hear none of it. And it wasn't just about the bit of gold on my wrist. It was just, it meant something to me. I wanted it. And so when I got divorced, what did I do? I went to Cartier in London, and I bought it for myself as a divorce present. And I absolutely love it, and I'm so thankful for it. And I mean, I haven't taken it off. You can't, because it's screwed on. But anyway, on Friday, I went to London back to Cartier and bought myself the matching ring. Again, it's a relatively speaking expensive item, and I could justify it. Like, seriously, if you want to justify buying anything, come to me and I will justify it. But I can practically justify it. Like, I remember someone saying to me before, you spend a lot of money on your car. and it's not like a crazy fancy car, it's a nice car, but I'm like, I don't drink much at all and go out and party, so probably the amount I spend on that car is what a lot of my friends would spend on alcohol, going out to eat, and all those things. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is, uh the reason I'm sharing this is there's a couple of reasons. Actually, this wasn't my behind the scenes, but anyway, I've just felt like I want to share it. Is that what I'm going to talk about today? One of the things I'm going to touch on is, in terms of manifesting anything, it's in many respects, it's this two things at play. One is you want to continually repeatedly feel the feels of having that thing that you want already in your experience. It's about embodying that feeling that you'd embody if you already had it. And then at the same time, in conjunction with this, simultaneously or simultaneously, how do Americans say it different? I can't say it now. But at the same time, you are working through any tension, any unhelpful beliefs as and when they come up, and they invariably will. If you're up leveling, this is not a bad thing. It's just it's cool, it's part of the course. And when you understand this, you just keep working on those things. Anyway, one of my things is that as I become more successful in the sort of outer world, as my outer world reflects my inner, then some of that like abundance in my life will be I can't think of a better way of saying it than off-putting to people. And I know that this is one of my limiting beliefs. So I'm sharing this with you, that I bought myself a Cartier ring and I absolutely freaking love it. And here's the thing, I want what I want for me. I also want to guide you to know that you can have what you want for you. And you might want a Cartier love bracelet or a love ring. You might have no interest in that whatsoever. You might want to manifest love in your life or do something to do with your body. It doesn't matter. The point is, I want to be an example. I'm sharing this, one, for that reason. Two, and I keep saying, and I will do this, a whole episode on, keep forgetting actually, on me manifesting this apartment and how all the different kind of meanings to that's not the right way of saying it, let me say this better, everything that was like involved in that from an energetic perspective and what it's meant to me and how this can relate to you. But I've talked about this because I'm really open, as you know, if you listen to this podcast, that money and finances was a challenge for me, and it's something that I was really focused on, and things have shifted enormously because of my energy change and because of what I've done practically, which is a nice segue back into what I'm going to be talking about today. But the point is, it's possible for me and it's possible for you. And also, I'm aware and always working on my limiting beliefs, because I've asked this before on Instagram. I'm like, does it put you off when people are like, hey, look at what I've done, look at this? Because that's something that my mind says to me, don't be too, maybe successful or whatever. And loads of people were like, no, we love it. Complete opposite to what my mind said, which is almost always, if not always, the case. But anyway, let me pick us a page from Love Notes. And then I've totally forgotten what I know what my behind the scenes was. We should probably say it sooner rather than later before it goes again, because I hadn't written on my notes. Okay, I'm just trying to do this in a really candid way around the microphone, which is on a stand, or Mike, because I decided to call him, right? Let me see what comes up. I'm going to read both pages. The first is page 82. And all the while, you rest in endless oceans of my love. And all the while, you rest in endless oceans of my love. And then the next page is fall fully into me. Fall fully into me. Fall into me. I actually haven't, for a little bit, picked up Love Notes. And so, it's really nice to do that. And at some point, I've pretty much got everything I need. In fact, I have got everything I need, but small sort of words trickle through, which I think they'll always do, but I've got everything I need for the second volume, so that is on my list of things to attend to. Anyway, let's just get on with it. Behind the scenes before I get into today's content. Okay, so as you probably know, unless this is the first time you've watched or listened to me, I moved about 4 weeks ago. I forget half the time, I don't know what day it is. And when that happens on a Monday, I'm like, that's not a great start to my week. Anyway, yes, and so yeah, I moved, and I saw a letter in the post from HMRC, and I assumed it was something to do with just my tax return, so I didn't think it was urgent, so I didn't open it. But I opened it on yesterday actually, and it said you owe the 5,000 odd pounds, whatever it was, £5,250 stamp duty. And I was like, I thought that got taken automatically from by the solicitor, because as far as I remember, this is what happened last time. So it's like, okay, I thought I'd already paid this thing, so it was an unexpected bill for £5,250. Now, of course, I could have freaked out about this. Oh my God, I'm £5,000, whatever it is, down, la, 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 la. And naturally, my mind wanted to do this, but I know better, because I know that doing that is going to take me out of alignment, get me focused on, unexpected bills, whatever it is, what we focus on, we get more of. I don't want to do this. So I was just like, okay, I thought I paid it. I hadn't. It's just, I've got the money to pay it because I have extra money from when I basically bought a cheaper property. And so, okay, no big deal. It needs paying. I've got the money, I'm going to pay it. And really, had it come out at the time, it wouldn't have really, it wouldn't have made a big difference, if that makes sense. So I was just chill about it, didn't freak out about it, didn't make a big deal out of it, kind of laughed about it. And then this morning I opened my mail and this time there's a letter from my mortgage company, and this letter says, basically, we owe you £5,250, the exact same amount as I owe in stamp duty. And so the point is, it's not about those two letters. The point is, the unwanted news came in. I didn't freak out. And then in a beat, it was like, oh, okay, it's been sorted. And this is the way of the universe. Like I talked about in the Instagram live I did, I think it was last Monday, one of my favorite mantras is every problem has a solution. The trick is not to freak out in the interim, in that period where it seems like you're getting unwanted and so on and so forth. And this was a really good example of that. I could have really panicked and worried and got my knickers in a twist, or panties in a bunch, as Americans would say. I did not. And of course it would have been wasted, particularly evidenced in this situation, but always, it never helps to worry. So I thought that was kind of interesting. All right, so today I'm answering a question from one of my lovely followers and members, and she has been through Manifesting Miracles with me, so she's one of my students. And I checked in with her yesterday because I know that she's single and ready to mingle, and I was just asking her about how this was going. And she said a couple of things, but basically she was talking about how, oh, the man isn't going to just turn up, so I know I need to get out there. And she also told me that two guys that she dated before that she's not interested in have got back in touch. So I said to her, look, I'm going to answer this on the podcast because I've got quite a lot to say and it's too much to say back and forth in DMs. So the first thing I want to say is, when you want to manifest anything, as I said earlier, it's about essentially two pieces of the puzzle. And the first is that what's required of you is that you become an energetic match to the thing or the things that you desire. So you probably heard me talk about, you might have heard me talk about this before. One of my things that I do, that I focus on, is what I call 100 million me. And it's not about specifically 100 million. It's just about this version of me for whom money is no object, who is undeniably abundant and just doesn't have to think about money. And so I know to bring in that abundance, or to continue bringing in that abundance, it's incumbent upon me, my work is to become, and to be consistent with this, an energetic match to that wealth, to abundance, to the sense of freedom and support and security that I get from that financial freedom. So that's the first part. Whether it, like in the case of this particular student of mine, it's wanting to manifest a man, or in my case, wanting to manifest wealth. So become a match. And the second is, as I say, don't F it up. So in other words, it's notice what comes up. Okay, you know, like I said, one of my blocks I know is that if I become too wealthy, successful, even down to things like attractive, people won't like me. This is part of my programming. You know, people will be jealous of you. People as I'm doing my thumbs up, there's something, I don't know what I've got set up, but now it's just put a thumbs up onto my I don't know how that's happened onto, is that going to stay there for, oh yeah, okay, onto my Zoom, sorry, that's distracted me now. But yeah, that's part of my programming, that if you're not supposed to stand out or be better than others as it's perceived, or any of that stuff. And so of course I know this is going to block me, because if I've got £100 million in the bank, then that is unusual, right? It's not your average amount to have in the bank, and so on and so forth, or whatever the amount is that's a decent amount. So one, we become a match, and two is we work on our limiting beliefs, on the tension, on unhelpful thoughts that we have that come up, on we don't block ourselves in these ways. And I've talked about this in the masterclasses that I've done, how to not F it up. So it's these two things, okay? And then through the process, we're doing whatever it takes to keep the faith. And this kind of goes hand in hand with the working on the mindset and the triggers and the beliefs, the limiting beliefs that come up. And then this is just truth. What you desire, or something even better for you, according to you, must be yours in divine timing. It must be. This is just law. This is how manifestation works, okay? And I've seen this so many times in my life and in the lives of people that I've coached and worked with, and like in Daniel's life now, that this is just the way that it goes. You can rely on this stuff in exactly the same way, like I talk about a lot, that you can rely on gravity. Like, you don't need to make gravity work for you, get it to work for you. It just does. It just is. And it's exactly the same with this manifesting stuff. So really, it's about getting into alignment. Now, I remember one of the many things that my ex-husband and I used to argue about was, he said that I thought that all I needed to do was just get happy and then basically not do anything and life would take care of me. And it's like, that sort of kind of is what I feel, but it's not the entirety of my belief system. So he was very opposite. He was, if you're in the spiritual world, you'd call him very 3D and me very 5D. So him very oriented towards and focused upon the effort, the physical, the work. I was way more focused on the energy, the alignment, the feeling good. But I am not stupid enough to think that it is only that. Okay, so what I want to say is, this lady said the man isn't just going to turn up. Now, it's sort of kind of true, but also it's not true. Now, you might know, when, not long before I met Daniel, actually, I've talked about this in the butter chicken episode where I talk about manifesting love. I'd come off all the dating apps. I was like, I just sensed that for me, my guy wasn't on there, and it just didn't feel aligned or aligning to do that. And I wasn't out looking. I was just living my best life, basically. And I sold something, a table, on Facebook Marketplace. And when the guy turned up to buy the table, it was like, oh, you seem like quite nice, la, 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 whatever. And then 20, 30 minutes later, he messaged me and basically asked me on a date. And I was like, I don't care what happens with this guy. What this has shown me is I don't even need to leave my house. I don't need to be on a dating app. I don't need to do anything to manifest a guy into my life who's probably better in lots of respects than many of them that I'd sort of happened upon on the dating site. So the point is, when you're in alignment and you're an energetic match to what you want, it has to be yours. So it's not like only if you're on a dating site, or only if you're doing this kind of job, or only if you're doing this kind of exercise. No, the thing that I want to say though, like I remember on that note, I was listening to an Abraham Hicks clip rather on YouTube, and there was a lady in it who said that she was just at home living her best life. She'd got a cat. She was petting the cat, just really feeling good. And I can't remember what happened, but she manifested love in a really similar way to I manifested who became known as the table guy. But she didn't take any action. Now, this isn't to say that we don't need to take action. Sometimes it's required, sometimes it isn't. But here's the piece, right, is that what is required of you is to be willing. Now, here's the deal. I was speaking to someone a while back about this, about a willingness to do whatever it takes. And this person was resistant to it. And it's like, one of the paradoxes of the universe, of the divine, is that when you show up and say, I am willing, I will do whatever it takes, the divine doesn't then say, haha, we've got a sucker here, we're going to take this girl or guy for what they're worth. That's not loving. It's not the way that it works. But if you are not in that space and place, that energetic place of saying, I'm willing, you are not tuning into your highest self. You are not lining up with your fullest wisdom. You are not your God self, your divine self. And so you are cutting yourself off from the most powerful, loving, benevolent essence in the entire universe. So it's having this willingness. I'm willing, like if I feel inspired to go on Tinder, for example, I'm willing to do this. If I feel inspired to quit alcohol for a period of time for my health, I will do this. I am willing, like God, the universe, my divinity, the divine, I'm willing to play my part. I am willing to do what's required of me. Unless and until you step into this, you are not in your most powerful and allowing state, from where you are most magnetic and attractive to every single request you've ever put out there, every single prayer you have ever prayed. So can you get that? It's not like you have to do X, Y, Z, but the willingness to do it is where it's at. So you don't have to go on Tinder or out, to bars and wherever it is to find the guy, but the willingness to do whatever it takes is where it's at. That's what's golden. So you could be like me. Like, dating coaches aren't going to tell you this. They're going to say, well, yeah, a guy's not just going to turn up. Why not? Says who? That is a limiting belief. Hopefully that makes sense. And yeah, so what you want is, when you're taking action, for it to be inspired action. And the way that this plays out is, when you leave at the time when you feel inspired to, because you're in alignment, you get the parking space. When you ring the person, when you feel like it's ready, it's the right time, they pick up the phone, they're in a good mood. It's not forcing, it's being in flow. And when you tune into the divine first, this flow naturally comes in. It's not efforting and trying or working hard. It's taking action when the time is right, in an inspired manner, with these sparks that come from the divine. When I started creating Reframe, this was the perfect example of that. I was working, doing all the inner work on feeling abundant, feeling successful, all these different things. And I was like, I'd done something like a similar kind of course with someone. I was like, I can do that. Oh my goodness. And wild horses wouldn't have stopped me. I've said this before, I was champing at the bit over the Christmas period, I think it was. I was knackered from some things going on, but like, I really just want to get this content out of me. And I've similarly had the idea to do one for adolescents and one for kids. And it's like, I know these are inspired ideas, And there's just so much power and insight and wisdom and might in these ideas versus what can I do to make money? What do I need to do? There's a heaviness in that, and there's a lightness in what I'm describing. So it's not about not taking action. It gives me the chance to talk about one of my favorite things to think about at the moment, which is that both and energy. It's the alignment and the action. It's the energy and the physical component. It's both. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, a guy can just turn up. I was watching a film last night, and the woman in that was desperately trying to find love, and then the plumber that turned up at her house, she ended up kind of getting it on. Actually, she hasn't yet, but she's going to. I could just tell with not because I'm incredibly wise, but because it's pretty obvious. But with this guy, and I know it's a movie, not real life, but my example is real life, and the one that I shared from Abraham Hicks is real life. And I talk about in Manifesting Miracles in the first week, I talk about lovely Carla, who does my lymphatic drainage massage. How she met her partner, and she was trying not to get with this specific guy, but she was so aligned and ready that even though she tried to mess it up, the universe was like, no, because you can't argue with your energy. This is where the power is. And then the other thing that that my student said was about, I think I said this to you, two guys that she was dating before got back in touch, and she's not interested in these two guys, but you might have heard me talk about this before. It's one of my favorite things. This is her driftwood. And if you don't know, or a reminder, driftwood is when you're asking for something, money, certain body, a guy, whatever it is, the universe immediately is always, sure, I'm on this. I'm into this for you. I am invested big time. And so you will get driftwood. And driftwood is like when sailors used to be out to sea for a long time, and then they were coming back into shore, and they were like desperate to get home. Just before the shore, or not too far from the shore, they'd see driftwood, and this would let them know you're nearing home. Okay, so driftwood in our lives is, you say you want more money, and then your friend tells you they got a raise. You see a billboard and it's got, do we call them that in the UK? That sounds very American. I feel like we've got a different name. Anyway, you see a billboard, and I'm secretly, or not so secretly, American, even though I wasn't born there. Anyway, so whatever, with loads of money on it. I can't think of other examples. An advert for the National Lottery, whatever it is, this is the universe going, I've got you, like winking at you. I'm literally winking. Oh, by the way, every now and then, I haven't had this for a while, but I go through a phase where I like involuntarily wink at people, not like all day every day, but like, hey, and it's like, oh my god, why am I doing this? This is just my life, to be this fool, to embarrass myself. Anyway, I'm off piece. I've totally forgotten what I was saying. It's completely gone out my head. So, oh god, I was talking to it was a girl in the shop earlier, and she asked my postcode, and I had that moment where it's like, oh my god, I've forgotten it. It came back, but I was like, no, is it going to completely go out of my brain? So obviously, it's a day for that. So, oh yeah, this was her driftwood. And I've talked about this before with signs. We get way twirled up in, what does it mean? I got this sign. Just overall, take these winks from the universe, like angel numbers, white feathers, whatever they might be, as the divine just saying to you, I've got you. Like, there's more to life than meets the eye. You can trust in me. Life is good. Don't need to get any more. Don't confuse it. Okay. Yeah, just reading my notes, I've said you don't have to do ABC, like I talked about. You don't have to go on the dating apps, go out and meet lots of people, but you do have to be willing. This is the key thing I want to get across, is this willingness, because when you're willing, you're in your God energy. And obviously, there ain't nothing more powerful than that. Like, what created this entire universe? And so why would you not want to be in that? Something happened with my daughter the other day. I think she's like, she had a test and she hadn't done much revision or as much as she wanted or something, and she had a bit of time in the morning, and I shared with her my favorite quote that you probably heard me say, the Theodore Roosevelt quote, which is, do what you can with what you've got where you are. And I was explaining to her that when you step into that energy, you step into your God energy. And don't you want that energy taking the test? Of course you do. Of course you do. So yeah, reminder that in order to manifest anything, and also a reminder that anything is possible, by the way, you have to become an energetic match to it and work through the limiting beliefs, the triggers, the tension that comes up. Make it both. We have a tendency as humans to get stuck on things and to get stuck in the heaviness of like working through our triggers. That's not helpful. I say feel it to heal it, and then get on with it. Okay, don't just feel it to heal it, feel it to heal it, and get stuck in that quagmire. Not helpful. But do those both things at the same time in tandem with one another. Become aware of those limiting beliefs, work through them, and feel the feels. This is exactly what I'm doing. Like when I'm driving around, I've got music on, and also at other times, but specifically then, I'm just feeling like, what does it feel like to just be abundant, to be free, to feel loved by life, to feel the love of the divine in my physical world. And I'm aware of when the tension and the anxiety and the whatever it is comes up, and sort that stuff out. Okay, I'll share more on that, on what to do about that if you want. Let me know. But then yes, this willingness. You don't have to do anything, but not being willing to. And actually I heard Amanda Francis say this the other day. She said sometimes in the spiritual world people are like, I'm just going to let it be. And it's like, no, there is a time and a place for that mentality, but often it's used as an excuse. You are co-creating with God, with the divine, with the universe, and you are that essence too. It's not like, oh, I'll just let things be as they are. This can be used as an excuse. I remember, what's his name? I never know if it's Stefan or Stephen Speaks, but this guy that's talks a lot about dating on YouTube and Instagram, and he said women often pray like when they're with a guy that they don't know is right or not, like, God, if he's not right, just take him from me. And he said this isn't the right prayer to pray, because you're just taking away all responsibility from yourself. And I can't remember now what he says to do instead, but I think it's something along the lines of, show me what to do, and then being willing to step into doing that. I might be wrong, but I think it's along those lines. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, it's not outsourcing and just going, oh well, if it's meant to be, it'll be. We can use these things as excuses for not doing our part. It's on us. It's up to us to do what's required, and then know that we are supported and loved, and that's met and matched by the energy and then some of the divine. But it's not about totally just not having any sense of responsibility or ownership. I talked about this in a previous podcast. I think it's like doing what's required, what's incumbent upon you, and also then knowing that you're loved, having faith, and choosing ease in and among that. Again, it's that both and energy that's so powerful. So this willingness, I think that's the thing that I just want to stress for you, is being willing. It's willingness. You never go to the divine and it's like, oh, what now? Or haven't I told you enough? Haven't I loved you enough? Never, ever, ever. It's infinite and endless, and in this abundant supply. That's the nature of the love of the divine, of which you are born, of which you are made, and which you are able to come back to again and again and again without fail, without doubt, without ending. So stepping into that doesn't get better than that, hey? Hopefully that makes sense, and I wasn't just rabbiting on too much. Let me know. I have done now 7 modules of Reframe, so I've got 3 left to do, and I'm on that ASAP. I reckon, what are we now, March? I think that I'm planning on launching Reframe for real at the end of May, because I want to get all the content done and then have plenty of time to focus on launching and getting it into the hands of the people that it's going to benefit. So message me if you want to be on the wait list for that, because I will do a special offer for those that get in straight away as before. And I can't wait to share that content with you and to get everything done and dusted. I'm so excited for that. Anyway, if you've got a question you want me to answer, let me know. If you love the episode, please share it with someone, share it on your social media and tag me. That means so much to me. It's really nice, like I always say, to get that feedback. But ultimately, I really hope that this was helpful. I'm going to do my best to get a podcast, if not do an Instagram live for you next week. But it might be a bit challenging, so bear with me because I'm having some more renovation stuff done on the apartment. But if not, it will be 2 weeks time from today, but I will be back soon. Thank you so much for watching or listening. Have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll see you in a week or two. Bye for now. Lots of love.